Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. For those of you who are new here, my name is Donna, and for those of you not new, thank you so much for continuing to come back and join me in my ventures here. Today I am doing the next installment in my Palette Roulette series. I believe it is number 48, so we have been through 48 palettes at this point, which is kind of crazy to me. For those of you who are unfamiliar, I will go ahead and link my first Palette Roulette video up in the cards so that you can go watch it. It just basically gives you the rundown of what we're doing, but all the information is also down in my drop down, as well as my whole series playlist down there if you would like to go watch that. So the palette that was chosen last week via my app was the Lorac Pro 3. This was a palette that I picked up at GMC actually. So it was like gratis. I didn't pay for it, which is good because I hated this palette. I like Lorac as a brand, I really do, but this was not an amazing week for me. And you'll see that in the pictures because I think I maybe have 3 that I'm willing to put up here. This just did not work for me. This palette was just not great. So this is the Lorac Pro 3 palette. This is what the exterior looks like. It is this nice, like pretty, like soft beige packaging. It does have a little insert in there that I just took out. It doesn't say that it's a number 3 except for on the back and the little blurb here. It does say Lorac Pro Eyeshadow Palette 3. It has a total net weight of 8.8 grams or 0.32 ounces, which is about 0.02 ounces per pound, which is approximately half the size of a ColourPop single shadow, so the pans are relatively small. There are 16 shadows in here, 8 matte and 8 shimmer, and it does have a decent sized mirror. So like with most all Lorac shadows, the mattes would be on top and the shimmers would be on bottom, so you have one whole row of each, and typically the ones that are right on top like coordinate with the shimmer right below it. Oh God. This is a very neutral tone palette, which first and foremost isn't up my alley, so I tried not to hold that against the palette. Obviously, I took my single shadows with me from both Sydney Grace and ColourPop during the week so that I could pop some, color into each eye look so that I didn't feel like I was totally out of my element using just a totally natural shade palette, very neutral in orientation. These shadows are made with soothing botanicals. On the website it does say they're made with like cucumber and calendula oils, so that they are nice and soft and buttery, and they really are. They're nice soft shades. But I am going to stick some swatches from online in here just because I could not get decent swatches with this palette. I tried, but I couldn't get any decent swatches. So I will run through these shades with you. The first one we have here is Blanc. I'm going to see if I can't bend this backwards just a little bit. The first one we have here is Blanc. It is just a really nice beige-ish, really neutral tone, really white base shade that you can use to pack on top of your primer, which this palette, if you buy it online, I believe it's for sale right now at Ulta for $39. I want to say when it first came out it was roughly $44 or something like that. This does come with a primer, so if you pack this on top of that primer, that's a good primer setting shade. But so is this one, which is Canvas. It's just a tad bit darker in tone. You guys will see that it's just a tad bit more tan. Then we have this one, which is Cool Taupe, which is a really nice shade in the pan, but when I put it onto my eyes, it's really super hard to blend it out. It doesn't want to blend at all. Really, the pigmentation likes to stick exactly where you put it in the brush, and then when you go in to blend it, it just kind of makes a mess all over your eyes. Pink Nude was probably one of my favorites in the palette. It is just a really nice pinky nude shade, just like it says. It was really pretty in like my brow bone, or I laid it down on top of my primer as well, just to give a little bit more kick to any eye look. Then we have Clay here, which is a little more rosy toned than Pink Nude, even though it kind of looks a little more brown in the pan. Then we have Terracotta here, which is a really pretty, it reminds me of Orange Sherbet in the ABH Modern Renaissance, I believe it is, palette. It is a really pretty orangey shade. I did have an orange eye look that I will pop in here in pictures that I really did like. It was one of the only eye looks that I liked. I did this one today with this palette. It's not bad, but it's just not my cup of tea. It's not the most amazing eye look ever. And then we have dark brown, which is what it says. It's supposed to be a dark brown. It's not that dark. I found it to be more of a neutral shade of brown. It's just not that dark. I like a little more bang for your buck as far as colors go, and that one just isn't it. Then we have Jet Black, which is the last matte. This black is on the outer V of my eye look today, and it's not as black as it tells you it is with the name. It's definitely more of a gray toned black. Then down here for the shimmers, we have Light Gold, which is actually more of a kind of a peachy shade. It is a really pretty shade. It is what's in my brow bone today. I don't mind that shimmer as shimmers go. Then we have this really almond pearl color, which is kind of like a brownish, pinkish shimmer. And then we have Medallion. Medallion was poop. It is the only shade in the palette that I feel like is kind of grippy in the pan, and it's super chunky in your eye look. I struggled with blending this one out. It just didn't work well for me. Then we have Light Pewter, which is kind of like a silvery pink. It's a really pretty shade, actually. We have Amethyst, which I wanted to love because it is pretty in the pan, but kind of like Medallion, it is a little bit more chunky, and it doesn't really have that shimmer sheeniness to it that I wanted it to have, being in the shimmer row. I really thought it was going to have a little more oomph than it did, and it just didn't. Then we have Rose Bronze here, which is exactly as it says, is a rose tone bronze shade. We have Dark Mocha, which is actually in my eye look today. It's on the inner portion, kind of lid space in my eye look. I did like this color. It's actually not as mocha as the name says it should be. It's definitely not a dark color, as you can see. It is from the inner corner to the outer like third of my eye. And then we have Truffle here, which is underneath that black shade, the Jet Black. So it kind of moves into that dark mocha shade in my eye look today. These are just not, they're just not oomphy colors. I prefer an eye look that is a little more colorful. Let's go there. But I also prefer an eye look that has like the shimmers. I really want to stand out as a shimmer. Another thing I will say is that this palette has a crazy amount of fallout. If you're going to use this palette, do use your shadows on your eyes first before you go in with your base, because you will regret not going in and doing your eyes first. So for those of you who don't typically do your eyes first, this isn't the palette for you. If you struggle with getting used to doing your eyes first, I know for me, sometimes doing my eyes first is not great because my eye look always looks like poop until I get my base done. I have to remind myself over and over and over again, just get your base on, just get your base on. Then tweak it if you need to. I mean, I think that you can see this eye looks completely different from this eye. These just don't want to blend. They're just not, and I The Lorac Pro 1, the first one, the one in the black, and I love it. Its pigmentation is amazing. I really had a good time with it. I really do like it as a palette, and this one I'm just not a fan of. So with that being said, I am going to close out this installment of Palette Roulette because I really can't say how much more I do not like this palette. My daughter really wanted it when I brought it home from GMC, and I was like, no, I kind of want to try it. I love my other Lorac one, and even though these shades aren't really up my alley, you can always use a really nice neutral tone, natural tone browns and beiges palette in your collection that's a good one. This is just not it. It's just not a good palette. I'm gonna take a drink off of my Coke real quick. I can appreciate that it comes with an eye primer. I think that is fantastic. The eye primer that it comes with, the Lorac Behind the Scenes eye primer, is not a bad eye primer. I really do like it. And this palette does perform better with the eye primer on. I mean, as far as longevity goes, it only lasts without eye primer a good maybe 4 or 5 hours. With eye primer, it's a good 8 hours before fading. But it's still not, it's still just not good even with the primer. I definitely couldn't stand behind it. I definitely couldn't recommend it, even to a person who does just want, a neutral, natural tone eye palette. This would not be the one I would recommend to them. So with that being said, we are going to dig into the app. I am going to make sure that palette is out of it. We are going to just dig into the app. I do have a Samsung Note 9. I use an app that I got off of the Play Store called the Decide Now app. It's just a Wheel of Fortune type app. They put all of my palettes into this app, and as we bring new palettes in, I put them in. As we use palettes through the Palette Roulette series, I take them out. So hopefully at some point in time we will be through all of the palettes in my collection. As long as I quit buying some more. So we're going to go ahead and spin it. You just press that middle button there and it spins the wheel for you and chooses a new palette. And the one it chose, this one, is the ABH Jackie Aina palette. This is a new palette out and about and to my collection. So I'm super excited about that. I'm going to go get that palette. I will be right back. Alright guys, this is the ABH Jackie Aina palette. I am so excited to use this. I did pick it up when it first launched, and the brush is still in here. And this is what it looks like. I haven't even touched it yet. So I'm actually kind of excited that this is the palette that was chosen for the week. We are going to use something that's brand new. I do love ABH. I love their shadows. I think that their shadows are phenomenal. Their brushes, not so much. So I'm just going to take this brush out now and go stick it in with my dual-ended brushes and not use this guy. But I am really super excited to have this palette and to use it next week. If you want to hear what I have to say about this palette next week, please do subscribe to my channel. I do upload every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday or Sunday, depending on my work schedule. And I typically upload at 9 a.m. However, please hit that bell because I have been having some technological difficulties, and sometimes I just had to peek down and make sure that I had even pressed record, which I think it did. Sometimes my videos don't get up at 9 because of my old AF computer. Really, I'm thinking about replacing it. Let me know what you guys think about the best computers. Also, let me know what you guys know about chapped lips. So both of my younger children, their lips are chapped clear around their lips, and I've been putting on some of my lip balms, some of my really good moisturizing lip balms, but they just continue to get chapped lips after chapped lips. And granted, some of that has to do with the weather around here, but some of it maybe also has to do with the fact that not using the right like lip balm on them. I have been using Laneige on them, and I have been using the Bite Beauty Agave lip balm on them as well, but it just looks so painful. I just feel so bad for them. Anywho, let me know what palette you guys are using this week. If you are following along with this Palette Roulette series or using a palette a week, I'd be interested to know what palette you used last week and which one you'll be using next week. Thank you guys so much for joining us today. I hope that you have an amazing week, and until next time, bye guys.